see what you did.
Oh no. What is he playing with the big yellow trumpet right in his face?
Okay, can we lightly discuss my January TBR? So, okay, new project. This year, the year of 2022, was all about backpedaling my book buying. Okay, it was out of control. I'm okay admitting that to myself now, and I needed to rein it back in, and I've done that. I feel good about the place I'm in regards to my book buying at the minute. However, in that year when I was focusing on that, other parts of my book life spiraled out of control. Namely to do with like the book monster within myself that needs to acquire books. So I was like going on apps, ebook apps, audiobook apps, you know, like I was acquiring kids books, which for some reason didn't count into my numbers for book buying. And also the library. I was going to the library to like feed my acquisition needs. I was putting things on hold because often if I needed a book, I could put it on hold at the library and that would like ease the monster a bit. Like, okay, I've put it on hold. I've acquired it slightly. Okay. But then of course you never know when the holds are going to come in. Like they're going to come in all at once. Are they going to come in when you're busy doing something else, when you're on holiday for 3 weeks and you don't have them? Like, it's a situation. Sometimes you just get a flood of them. And it does not help the situation that Cardiff Library, since the pandemic, they haven't been requiring you to give them back within like a normal amount of time. Before there was like a 3-week thing, and if you couldn't renew them, like somebody had them on hold or whatever, and you couldn't return them, you had to pay a fee. They've ditched fees, which is fair, okay, because it's unfair on people who can't afford those fees. That's fair. But also, it's bad for the monster because the monster just now acquires library books and just fucking sits on them. So I've got, oh my god, I've got 11 physical books here in my basket, my library book basket. Also, I have 4 ebooks and audiobooks in various apps, also from the library. So, January 2023 is now going to be partially about keeping my library books in check. So my book buying, I've got that under control. I'm going to continue with a one in, one out system. Read one, send it out, get another one in. Fine, I've got it under control. I can handle it. Library books now, though, I'm only going to keep them for the allotted 3-week time. Okay, if I can't read them in the 3 weeks, probably I wasn't that excited about the book to begin with, and I'm gonna give it back. Okay, so for my first blitz for January, I'm gonna try to read all these books in January. It's 11, 15. I'm gonna try to read 15 books in January, and of these books that I can't read in January, they're going back, and I'm not gonna get them again. Okay, if I can't finish it in the time, probably I wasn't that in love with that book to begin with. And then moving forward, just keeping that rule. You have it for 3 weeks. Don't renew it. Don't, sit on it. Just give it back. If it wasn't meant to be, it wasn't meant to be. Be cool. Also, I may start this project in like the week after Christmas, like in that gooch period between Christmas and New Year. I might count that week as part of January just because like I might need a bit of help. And also I'm going to be out of work. Like at the minute I can't focus on things properly because I'm working, trying to get stuff for Christmas, Christmas wrapping, Christmas presents, blah, blah, blah. So in that week between Christmas and New Year, I think I'll have a lot of downtime, hopefully, knock on wood. So I might, yeah, include that week in January. Anyway, first one, okay? Night Crawling by Layla Motley. This one I think is about a girl. Her mother's not around, her parents aren't around, whatever. She's looking after herself. I think she's a teenager. She's also looking after like a 9-year-old neighbor or something. And she witnesses a crime by a police officer or something, some sort of like racist action or racist crime or whatever. And she now has to sort of testify or something. I don't know fully, but loads of people have said it's amazing. So that's been in my box. Next one is Our Share of Night by Mariana Enriquez. So this one, I really liked her other one, like her short story one, which was Smoking in Bed or something about smoking in bed. This one, from people who said they liked her other one, 2 people have now said they didn't really like this one. I think Sean was one where she just DNF'd it. I'm gonna give it a go. It's about, I think, Argentina, yeah, spanning the brutal decades of Argentina's military dictatorship and its aftermath. Haunting, thrilling novel, broken families, blah, blah, blah. Like, it's something called The Order or something. And this guy, he can like commune with the spirits. He can like talk to the dead. And now something's happened to him. So now his son has to take over and the Order's like brutally coming after him or something. It sounds brilliant. So like, I'm going to be fully open to DNFing, okay? That's how we're going to get through these library books all the time, by not being stupid about DNFing. If I'm reading it, if I'm like roughly, you know, devoting this part of my life and it's still not good, bin it, mate. Just give it back. That's what library books are for. Okay, next one is, I believe, was on the translated fiction list for BookTube Prize this year for 2022. I am not going to do a BookTube Prize for 2023, mainly because the category I now understand I need, which is the translated fiction category. They've decided they don't have enough judges to do that category, and they're just going to do nonfiction and fiction. And I know enough about myself now, after my year of learning through BookTube Prize, that that's not where I'm at. I needed the translated fiction one, so I've dropped out of it. I'm not going to do it. So now, I feel like maybe I should just read all of the ones that were in the BookTube Prize for this year in the translated category. Anyway, okay, this was one of them. The Art of Losing by Alice Zeniter. So this one I think is a girl living in France. She's born and raised in France, but I think her grandfather and her father were born in Algeria. And there's something about why they had to leave Algeria, like they had to leave in a rush or something. And sort of start over. Like, they were wealthy in Algeria and now in France they have nothing, or whatever, they started with nothing. And now she's going to go back to Algeria and sort of like find out more about her family and sort of retrace everything, I think. Sounds quite good, I think. Next one is Speak Not by James Griffiths. I was going to try to read this one in November, I think, for Nonfiction November. I didn't quite get to it, so I was like, oh, maybe I'll wait till Dewiethon. But no, I'm not waiting till March to read this. It is in my library basket now. I need to blitz it. It's basically, so it has a Welsh language sort of focus, but I think it's sort of more about minority languages in general, sort of minority languages throughout the world, and sort of what they've done to preserve their languages and like their culture and things like that, in a world where sort of increasingly it's harder for minority languages to exist. Sort of, you know, you've got your, I don't know, what's it, like 20 main languages or something, like hegemonic languages, big languages are sort of taking over like with more and more force, you know, so it makes it harder and harder. And I think it's a discussion of what the Welsh language is doing to protect itself, like the history of like Welsh language stuff, but also other minority languages with, throughout the world. I mean, anyway, interesting. Okay, next one is a graphic novel, Quiet Girl in a Noisy World, an introvert story by Debbie Tung. I think this one is basically like a love letter to introverts, you know? It's sort of just, I don't know, various, like the author's an introvert or whatever, and she's sort of like telling the story of introverts to extroverts, or sort of like allowing introverts to sort of come together, I don't know, empathize with each other in a circle. Anyway, I can't remember who said recently that this one's amazing, but someone I know and love and trust their opinion deeply has said it's amazing, but I can't remember who it was. It's probably fine. Okay, next one is also a graphic novel. It is The Undertaking of Lily Chin by Danica Novgorodov. So this one, I think, is roughly in ancient tradition, where they are, the dead can't go into the afterlife without a wife or husband or whatever. Like, you have to be paired up even when you die and go into the underworld. So so-and-so, like this person's brother, has died without a wife, so she's got to get him a wife. And I think, I don't know, but it sounds like Lily Chen has been sort of fingered to be the wife. It sort of goes like, haunted by the gods of their ancestors and the expectations of the new world, Deshi and Lily embark on a journey with two very different destinations in mind. They travel through a land where the ground is hard and the graves are shallow, where marriage can be murder, and where Lily Chen is wanted, dead or alive. I think it looks quite cool. I know literally nothing else about this. No reviews. Nobody I know has read it. I just found it at the library and it looks banging. So we're going to give that a go. Next one is Heather the Totality by Matthew Weiner? Depends. And this one, I also don't know what it's about because the little blurby bit like doesn't really tell you that much. It just sort of says Heather is like this amazing sort of person, like she's a perfect daughter, you know, perfect granddaughter, like she's beautiful and empathetic and just lovely, and they like in this family that's like rich in New York or whatever. But then at some point, I don't know, it gets darker, things get dark. I don't really know how though. And on the back we've got a message from Claire Massoud. Says, short and rapier sharp, Matthew Weiner's Heather the Totality compels in our nerves in equal measure. Like the great Patricia Highsmith, Weiner renders the disturbing not just plausible, but exquisitely, agonizingly inevitable. Banging. Next one is When the Reckoning Comes by LaTanya McQueen. Loads of people on BookTube and also just people I know in real life have read this and said it's amazing. It's like a sort of horror book, but also with like a social justice and sort of like history background. So it's like these kids go to this old plantation house and it's haunted as fuck because the history of it is awful. Like slaves sort of basically like tortured and beaten and just treated horrendously. And they go there as kids and something happens, like some sort of haunting event, like someone's murdered or something, or like some sort of like really scary haunting. And then years later, they all come back together for one of the kids' like weddings, and it happens at this plantation where it's been like redone up into a fancy hotel, like a sort of like, ooh, like a fun historic romp with like antebellum themed cocktails and like shit like this, you know. And then the haunting gets bad again. Brilliant. Okay, next one is Bad Ideas / Chemicals by Lloyd Markham. This is a Wales one. Welsh author from my favourite section in the library, which is like the local section. This one I don't really understand. I think it's like three really offbeat friends. One that wears a spacesuit because she thinks she's an alien. One that plays like open mic nights and stuff like that. And they basically have one last banger night out in bars and nightclubs and stuff. At its heart, the story of the Orphan Three is a passionate defense of friendship and a celebration of the weirdness of life, no matter where you're born or in what circumstances you find yourself. Like, I think it sounds funny and also delightfully heartwarming. Okay, next one is Women Talking by Miriam Toews. This one I think is based roughly on a true story where these women in a Mennonite community were being knocked unconscious and brutally raped or something like that. And then they were sort of told that it was like demons or like spirits that were raping them or whatever. And then they find out actually it's these actual guys. But then I think it like has a fictional response, like that's where the true story part of it ends, and then the fiction part picks up where these women are like discussing what they want to do about it, sort of like if they want to live in their community, how they want to live in their community. And I think the men who raped them are about to be sort of released from jail or something, and they're sort of, I don't know, coming together like right before that or something. I think it sounds absolutely brilliant. Loads of people have said it's amazing. Okay, this one I know will not be of interest to really anyone except me, but I feel like I still want to share. So it's called Gangsters on a Glow, which is Gangsters in the Rain. And it's like a Welsh language one, but it's like one of these ones that I like They're sort of, I don't know, like learner ones. Like where it's only got so much text, and then you have like things on the bottom where it sort of gives you sort of vocabulary and sort of reinforcement about stuff. And it's like supposed to be sort of funny, like these gangsters at like a bookstore or something. These gangsters like shake down a bookstore or something. I don't know. Ebooks and audiobooks that I have in various apps. First one being Rainbow Roll, Scattered Showers. This is a short story collection, I think. And the actual book of it is really pretty. It's like a sort of hardcover, and then when you open it up, like the text is sort of like a pinkish, like a dark pinkish sort of red, and like the edges are red or whatever. So I'm sad to sort of read it in ebook, but it does look really good. Like I don't really know anything about the stories, but I like Rainbow Roll, so it'll be fine. Okay, next one is Run Rose Run by James Patterson and Dolly Parton. I've been wanting to read this one for absolutely ages and just haven't gotten around to it. This one also goes with like a Dolly Parton album, like she released them together. Something to do with a girl who's on the run for something. I don't need to know. I don't need to know what it is. Dolly Parton has an accompanying album. It's a book. Just banging. That's all I need to know. Okay. Next one, Amari and the Night Brothers by B.B. Alston. Loads of people have told me this is amazing. It's sort of like a YA, or like I think like middle grade or something like that, where this girl's part of this like magical family, and I think like needs to save her brothers or needs to save someone, like I don't really remember, but it's part of a series, and I think the second one and maybe the third one as well are out now. I've been trying to read this one for a really long time, so I need to get on it. If it's amazing, maybe I'll put the second one on hold at the library. Last one is The Broken Girls by Simone St. James. I read another one by Simone St. James and I did not love it. I think partially because thrillers are less my thing than just normal crime or like horror, you know, like where the villain is actually supernatural. If it's like, you know, fast-paced sort of like, you know, high stress situation where the villain is just like a normal person, I think I get on with it like less, you know. But I've heard this one's really good, though I can't for my life tell you why. I find I have very little information about these ones that I have on the apps. But anyway, that's the last one. Okay, fucking hell. This is my list. This is my library list, and also the ones on my thingy. If you have any thoughts at all, please let me know. Like, have you read these? Do they look amazing? Do they look awful? Please let me know. This is all information I need for my great January project and then my library project moving on into 2023. Okay, right now I have to go have more drinks in the Christmas market where it's cold and dark and raining. But yeah, that's the next thing. Yay!
Oh my god, hardly any plasters.
Should we get band-aids?
What is this for?
It's to get fit.
Is this a chew toy?